Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Story Time with Mr. Hallum. It is our daily gathering to gather together and have a story. Or maybe you just binge watch it once a week. However you do it. I'm here 3 times a week. I don't know how often you're here. I'm glad you're here though. So today we're going to read another story by Andrea Beatty because I really like her. And this one is Iggy Peck, Architect. Okay? I really like these stories. They're really cool. Give you things to think about what you could do when you grow up. Ada Twist, scientist. Rosie Revere, engineer. And now Iggy Peck, architect. I think there's one like Lucy Perez, future Prez. I took the cover off because I can't handle covers. And here's the back side. Look, she's just throwing all that stuff away. Books on architecture. Maybe you like architecture. Let's find out. Iggy Peck, architect. Young Iggy Peck is an architect and has been since he was 2, when he built a great tower in only an hour with nothing but diapers and glue. "Good gracious, Ignatius," his mother exclaimed. "That is the coolest thing I've ever seen." But her smile faded fast as a light wind blew past and she realized those diapers weren't clean. "Ignatius, my son, what on earth have you done? That's disgusting and nasty. It stinks." Just little baby booty right there. The old stinky diaper tower. But Iggy was gone. He was out on the lawn using dirt clods to build a great sphinx. Excuse me. When Iggy was 3, his parents could see his unusual passion would stay. He built churches and chapels from peaches and apples and temples from modeling clay. At dinner one night, to his father's delight, Iggy got a bright gleam in his eye, and out on the porch built the St. Louis Arch from pancakes and coconut pie. Interesting fact about the St. Louis Arch. There were 2 sets of teams and they built up this way. And they met at the top. And the building was so fine that there was, I want to say like 1/32nd hundredth of an inch away. I mean, they were almost perfectly aligned. That's pretty impressive. By the way, I've been up in the arch, and it's very high up. The Statue of Liberty could stand underneath the arch, torch in the air, not touch it. Dear Ig had it made until 2nd grade, when his teacher was Miss Lila Greer. On the very first day, she had to say, "We do not talk of building in here. Gothic or Romanesque, I couldn't care less about buildings, ancient or new," she said in her lecture about architecture that had no place in grade 2. So in other words, his teacher's not a fan of architecture. That might seem severe, but she was sincere, for when she was no more than 7, she'd had a great fright at a dizzying height in a building so tall it scraped heaven. On an architect's tour of the 95th floor, young Lila got lost from the group. And yes, that was my phone in the background. But you know me, I don't stop. I work through. She was found 2 days later in a stuck elevator eating cheese with a French circus troupe. After that day, it's quite safe to say, she thought all building lovers were nuts. As a teacher, she taught that above all, one ought to avoid them. No ifs, ands, or buts. Would you like to be stuck in an elevator? Neither would I. As you might guess, it would cause Iggy stress to hear such terrible talk. But he didn't hear. He sat in the rear while building a castle of chalk. You, Iggy Peck, your desk is a wreck. Tear that castle down right now. Tear down that castle right now. You will not build in here. Is that perfectly clear? Do you need to see Principal Howe? No, ma'am, Iggy said. He lowered his head, and his heart sank down to the floor. With no chance to build, his interest was killed. Now second grade was a bore. After 12 long days that passed in a haze of reading, writing, and arithmetic, Miss Greer took the class to the Blue River Pass for a hike and an old-fashioned picnic. They crossed an old trestle to a small island nestled in the heart of a burbling stream. But they no sooner passed than the footbridge collapsed and Miss Lila Greer started to scream. We're trapped here! Oh my, alas, kids, goodbye! Her eyes rolled back in her head. She dropped to the ground with a vague groaning sound, luckily fainted, not dead. The class was amazed. They stood there quite dazed, uncertain of what they should do. But one bright young man was off hatching a plan which started with Miss Lila's shoe. Soon each lad and lass there at the Blue River Pass was working together as one. And when she came to, Miss Lila Greer knew that something quite brave had been done. She looked in the air and saw hanging there a structure with cables and braces, and on the far side, beaming with pride, were 17 smiling young faces. Boots, tree roots, and strings, fruit roll-ups and things, some of which one should not mention, were stretched ridge to ridge from the glorious bridge, dangling from shoestring suspension. I can turn this page. It all became clear to Miss Lila Greer as she crossed that bridge over the stream. There are worse things to do when you're in grade 2 than to spend your time building a dream. Now, every week at Blue River Creek Elementary in second grade, all the school kids can hear, along with Miss Greer, how the world's greatest buildings were made. Their weekly guest speaker, in t-shirt and sneakers, talks of buildings from Rome to Quebec. Of course, he's the guy who builds towers from pie, the brilliant young man, Iggy Peck. What a fun story. I like architecture. I secretly wanted to be an architect, and then I realized they have to do a lot of drawing and a lot of math, and I was not very good at the math, and I wasn't very good at the drawing. So I figured it probably wouldn't do me a lot of good to go into a position where I had to do things I wasn't good at. But I've gotten better at math, and they use computers now for the drawing, so maybe I should have. Oh well. Guys, it's been another fun week with Storytime with Mr. Hallum. I can't wait till next week. We're getting closer to Thanksgiving. I'm going to have to find some Thanksgiving stories, that's for sure. Because what would be a week of Thanksgiving without Thanksgiving stories? So, that said, you guys have a great rest of the day, and I look forward to seeing you next time on Storytime with Mr. Hallum.